Jamie Lee Curtis isn't just a Hollywood star. She's a force of nature, a flame that has burned across decades, admired by millions and loved by generations. Her career has been a mix of triumphs and storms, but every time life has knocked her down, she has risen stronger, more resilient, and even more radiant. At 66, Jamie is seen as an icon of beauty, courage, and honesty. But behind the applause, behind the glamorous photos, and behind the smile she still shows the world, lies a soul shaped by heartbreak, loss, and private struggles few ever saw. Born on November 22, 1958, Jamie entered the world as the daughter of two legends, Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. To outsiders, her family looked like Hollywood royalty, but the truth inside their home was very different. By the time she was only 3 years old, the marriage had collapsed in bitterness. Years later, Jamie summed it up with piercing honesty. "I was raised in a house of hatred." Her father, Tony, drifted further away as addiction and the trappings of fame consumed him. For Jamie, absence wasn't just a feeling. It was the empty chair at her school performances, the phone that never rang, and the constant sting of knowing her father was somewhere out there but not with her. Her mother, Janet, tried to hold the family together with grace. But Jamie saw the private pain behind the public image, the loneliness, the exhaustion, the humiliation of gossip columns. For a little girl, home was supposed to be safe, but for Jamie, it was her first battlefield. On top of the emotional wounds, Jamie carried physical insecurities. A drug her mother took during pregnancy left Jamie with permanently gray teeth. In Hollywood's culture of beauty, this small difference made her feel flawed, as if she would never be enough. And her teenage years were filled with upheaval, moving through 3 high schools in 4 years, never staying long enough to feel like she belonged. Yet, even in this chaos, resilience began to take root. Her stepfather, Robert Brandt, eventually gave her the anchor she so badly needed, showing her that steadiness and tenderness could exist. From him, she learned that love didn't always have to disappear. Jamie's first career dream wasn't even Hollywood. She once wanted to become a police officer, craving order in a life that had always felt unstable. But fate pulled her into acting. At 18, while studying law, she was encouraged to audition. Though doubtful of her own abilities, she tried, and doors began to open. Her first big break came in 1977 with the television series Operation Petticoat. But after 1 season, she was let go, and Jamie was devastated. She cried, convinced her career was over before it even began. The whispers that she was only hired because she was Tony Curtis's daughter cut deeply. Then, in 1978, history changed. Director John Carpenter cast her as Laurie Strode in Halloween. At just 19 years old, Jamie became the face of horror films, the world's first scream queen. The movie earned more than $47 million, an extraordinary success at the time. But while fame arrived quickly, it also trapped her in a box. Film after film, The Fog, 1980, Prom Night, 1980, Terror Train, 1980, Halloween 2, 1981, typecast her as the terrified girl running from danger. She began to fear that Hollywood would never let her grow beyond screams. But Jamie wasn't finished. Her reinvention came in comedy. In 1983, she starred in Trading Places, proving she had razor-sharp comedic timing. By 1988, she stunned the world in A Fish Called Wanda, earning a BAFTA award and international acclaim. In 1994, she took on her most daring role yet in True Lies. At 36, she performed her own stunts, not even dangling from a helicopter, and gave a performance that won her a Golden Globe. That famous accidental fall during the striptease scene became iconic, capturing her bravery and vulnerability all at once. But Hollywood is never kind for long. She endured humiliating flops like Perfect, 1985, and Virus, 1999. For a woman still haunted by childhood rejection, every failure felt like the echo of being unwanted. yet she refused to give in. In 2003, she reinvented herself again with Freaky Friday, charming a new generation and earning another Golden Globe nomination. In 1998, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2019, she dazzled audiences in Knives Out. And in 2022, at 64, she finally held the Oscar in her hands for Everything Everywhere All at Once. On stage, her voice trembled as she whispered, "We just won an Oscar?" That moment was not just a career victory. It was vindication for every wound she had carried. But her greatest battle was not on screen. It was against addiction. In 1989, after a cosmetic surgery, Jamie was prescribed Vicodin. What began as pain management turned into 10 years of hidden addiction. She took pills in silence, terrified of discovery. Even her husband, Christopher Guest, didn't know. She later admitted, "I was stealing pills. I was sick with secrets." The breaking point came in 1994 when tragedy struck. Her younger brother Nicholas Curtis died of a drug overdose at just 23. For Jamie, it was unbearable. She recognized in his death the same demon she was secretly fighting herself. Finally, in 1999, her sister Kelly confronted her, and Jamie walked into her first recovery meeting. That day, she began her sobriety journey, one she has now maintained for more than 20 years. She calls it the greatest achievement of her life, greater than any film, any award, even the Oscar. Jamie also endured wave after wave of devastating losses. Her best friend Richard Frank died of AIDS in 1995. A young girl she loved like her own, Lori Tull, passed at just 20 after a heart transplant. In 2004, her beloved mother, Janet Leigh, died, followed by her stepfather, Robert Brandt, in 2009. And in 2010, her father, Tony Curtis, passed, leaving her completely out of his will. For Jamie, it wasn't about money. It was the final rejection, the last confirmation that her father would never give her the love she had always hoped for. Yet, instead of bitterness, she chose transformation. She poured her love into her family with Christopher Guest and their 2 adopted daughters, Annie and Ruby. Adoption, she said, gave her the miracle of motherhood when biology could not. When Ruby came out as transgender, Jamie embraced her fully, even officiating her wedding, calling it one of the proudest moments of her life. Today, at 66, Jamie Lee Curtis lives in Pacific Palisades with her husband of 40 years. Their marriage, nearly unheard of in Hollywood, has endured with humor, patience, and devotion. She continues to work on select projects, from a Freaky Friday sequel to TV shows like The Bear. She has also authored more than a dozen children's books, some earning Grammy nominations. She donates generously, including $1 million to wildfire relief in 2025. She practices yoga, meditation, and self-care while rejecting Hollywood's obsession with cosmetic surgery. She calls aging a privilege, wearing her wrinkles as proof of a life lived honestly. Her legacy is not just in her films, her Golden Globes, or even her Oscar. It is in her resilience. She turned pain into strength, addiction into advocacy, infertility into motherhood, rejection into empathy. She is proof that authenticity is the greatest form of beauty, and that healing doesn't mean erasing scars. It means carrying them with grace. Jamie Lee Curtis's story is a reminder that even in the harshest spotlight, humanity endures. Her greatest role isn't Laurie Strode or Helen Tasker or Deirdre Beaubier. It is herself, survivor, mother, wife, advocate, and a woman who shows us that love and resilience are the only things that truly last.